Hello, Jake Like here, gaming lawyer at your service. We are back with Great Ace Attorney. So we're gonna continue doing this stupid mini game. I don't particularly like this mini game. It's like it doesn't involve any real trial or stuff because this is a lawyer game. I know this is a spin-off, but then we are still using a lawyer in this game. But in any case, let's continue. Right? Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. Which I think I've read all this, so I'll just skip this. Yep. No visible signs of injury. Like the consequence of the victim's death can only be explained with a terrible venom. So it is not a terrible venom. What Mr. Shom says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body. That's right. But Mr. Shom seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now. Autopsy. Present. Postmortem report. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the postmortem report. Ah, yes, I knew it was one or the other. His neck was... Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seaman Stroganoff isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could that be? It's the same all this, alright, so let's skip. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found though. Presumably, Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. I suppose it's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama though. He wasn't a clumsy man. Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? Explain what? Explain what happened. Yeah, this, right? This mark on floor. Yes, an examination of the mark on floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results, the undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asugi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at a point on the floor and tripped. Please no. And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life. No! I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays his hiding place you chose. What? That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the evidence. Blah blah. No. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. But, and if this part of Mr. Shom's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in his cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where? I wonder. Let's have a good look around. Where, oh where? A tiara? I can only do this two directions. The tiara, maybe? Ah, somebody appears to have dropped 20,000 rubles. It hasn't been dropped, Naruto-san. It's been placed. I'm starting to sound like Mr. Shones. Stop trying to sound like the great detective. Yes. Waste paper basket. This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them. But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. Ding ding ding. Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you. It's this. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in the waste packet in that waste paper basket. Ah! Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object. It would seem one that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely, we found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no! So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in a waste paper basket in your cabin? You're well acquainted with this glass, Belle, are you not? I don't know. In that harsh Russian accent of yours. Won't save you this time, here, girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the Belle in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruto. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova in the little glass bell that would be this. If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see hanging from Darka's collar. The very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. Death by tripping over a cat. Okay, that sounds lame. Deduction complete. Elementary. Deduction complete. Complete. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast. She disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that is how you acquired a rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it? Yes, and I had read the rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darka with me. Yes. Modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping. So at that point, you thought it safe to try to lure the kitten back again by dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator and into the adjoining cabin. Darka always loves this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return. So the faint whistling sound Kazuma wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened. I have a bad feeling about Darka. Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then... Oh no. Dad. I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent. Kazuma-san was... From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The SS Puria is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. Doesn't explain everything though. With the cat killing... Ask Kazuma. If Mr. Asugi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. But what became of the kitten afterwards? In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator. Okay, so she's not dead. I was thinking she was dead. Yet Darka is nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case, and now she's disappeared again. Gracious, that cat is as insufferably restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself at least. When I woke this morning, I heard that the young man in the cabin next to mine had died, but I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back. Oh, hold on a minute. How about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it? And where did it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board this ship? Oh, I didn't say? Snake is my friend. His name is Piroshko. Piroshko. What? That snake belongs to you? He escaped from the cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here. Yes, how did that snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. Ha! We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without close friend, without someone who understands. Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better? But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake. Surely you can appreciate the danger of putting everyone in. No venom. Piroshko does not have venom. He is harmless. Very long, but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny. It's venomless? Yes. Now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? Ha! Like they say they milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Pirozgo eats mouses. Big, fat, round mouses. So is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for? Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food? Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can climb up a balcony and it's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? It's not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Pirosko is nothing to do with this incident. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. Yes, that's ridiculous. I don't think it's real. I don't think it's true. Something's off. Miss Pavlova? I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. Did my voice just crack? A young man lost his life. You're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies. Then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But what are you talking about, Miss Mikotova? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events, an accident. I'm no great detective like Mr. Jones. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see, that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruto? Yes, I agree. To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. I confess. I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Oh? I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruto, are simply a distraction. A distraction? I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. What? You? Not again. When did he do that? Especially as they are on your wrist as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. You were Mr. Jones? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? Yes. Kazuma was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even. In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruto. Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. Kazuma, the truth about how you really died, about how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Naruto. So then, shall we begin? Yes. What we should ponder first is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? And that is what we must establish in the first instance. But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident. Wait, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident. Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruto. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally the victim's Death was no mere accident. Wait, oops, no. This. The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. That script. It's Russian, isn't it? Indeed. Indeed, it is. The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language. Japanese in this case. But maybe he was studying Russian. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast. That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry? What do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There is no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting instant death. Instant death. Oh! Which means after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything. Because he was already dead. Oof. That's not really the only reason either. There's something else we found in Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there if what Miss Pavlova told us was true. What? So, Susato-san has noticed it too then. Putting this message on the floor side, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. In other words, I think it's this. Yes. Oh no! Wrong. No! Ugh. No. Don't say anything. This is either as something you expect to find, or the presence of something you wouldn't. Most compendiously, my dear father. Ah, I see. I confess you're rather languid. I see. Does it fill me with confidence, Mr. Uncle? Don't worry that I believe in you, well, more than Mr. shows us anyway. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts. The story here is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. There's something else that gives another piece of proof there was no accident. Okay, I'm not sure what it is, but we have ran out of time. Because well, sorry, I'm leaving you, leaving you guys at a cliffhanger, but not even sure how long is this gonna take. So, thanks for watching. Hope you are enjoying this playthrough. I think we are about to get to almost the end of this debacle. So, take care. Stay hopeful, but be critical. Bye-bye.